pro tem during the time after our previous mayor left and before our new mayor was elected. A lot of good work with the Finance Committee, good leadership, and you and the current members of the Finance Committee have done a great job in tracking down things like this in spite of a lack of documentation and taking care of the city. You've actually found savings which were significant that nobody thought of before in the telephone area. Thank you, nice going. And you've been hiding your light under a bushel basket long enough.
Thank you, Dave.
Any other comments? We've got a motion and a second to pass and post the resolution in the usual manner. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda Bill 105-10, Supplemental Professional Services Agreement with Mr. Paul Lewis. RJ?
Yeah, city desires to add supplemental tasks on the financial services support project with Paul Lewis. These tasks would include updating the 2010 economic trends through the second quarter, 2010 presentation to Washougal City Council and staff at the city retreat on July 31st, and assistance in the 2011 budget process. This item has not been specifically budgeted for, however, there is now a budget savings in the finance director's salary line item that can be identified to cover this agreement. Recommended actions to authorize the mayor to sign the agreement with Paul Lewis for supplemental tasks on financial services support project.
So move.
Second.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
we have quite a few questions that were asked. Some I think that are fairly straightforward. Others perhaps require some digging. Would it be possible for you to answer those questions as best possible, or would it be better for
You bet.
staff?
No, most of them are pretty easy. One,
Thank you.
Mr. Lewis doesn't charge us for mileage or his time in transit. He doesn't, up to this point, he has not provided, has not created any of the documents that any of the finance group has seen as we've gone through the budgeting process. He basically does everything on the computer, sends it over to Vicki, and she creates them. So those are all being created on city computer systems. And in regard to the software questions, RJ, you'd have to answer that one. I believe Paul's working on our same software programs that are here within the city itself.
We're pretty much just dumping data from our system in Excel format that you can read, and he's loading those numbers up, or using the same bar, the count number, kind of system that he's familiar with.
In regard to the questions in regards to duplication of the services that we're asking Mr. Lewis to do versus the job responsibilities that Mr. Scott has, it would be a safe bet that Mr. Scott is responsible for all of the department heads and all of the departments within the city and how they function. In regards to the amount of depth that Mr. Lewis has gone into our past accounting systems and past budgets to pull things forward and be able to do those projections and carry them all the way through, especially given the fact that we brought him on board before Mr. Scott was even here. There certainly is not a duplication of efforts in there, nor was there ever intended to be. So, any others in there? Yes.
I also wanted to point out, as far as the first question, I know I sort of puzzled over this just a little bit. Wanted a little bit of a clarification. With regards to the finance director salary line item, if I remember correctly, we've already used some portions of that line item for some other budget items. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
The initial professional services agreement we had with Mr. Lewis, which was $19,000 and something, just under $20,000 came out of that item as well.
Okay. And was that also the budget line item that was used for the recruitment or the headhunters that we've hired, or was that different?
We haven't used any.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, there was a discussion of that, and somehow I translated that into it being passed. Okay, so my understanding is that simply we have budgeted for the finance director's salary, and since we don't have one on board right now, that budget, that part of the line item just is untouched and is not paid out, and so we're using $4,400 from that line item for this?
Yes and no. In the 2010 budget, we loaded in a full 12 months budget or salary for that position due to the separation agreement that the council approved for the former finance director, which just ended this last month. in addition, we had anticipated bringing forward, actually, I guess that ended in May. We anticipated trying to have somebody on board previous to that, and that's why we had those additional dollars in there. The amount of difference in there more than makes up what we would need for this one and for what we paid Mr. Lewis up to this point for the work that he's done. But no, money hasn't just sat there. It's been being paid out on a monthly basis, whether to Mr. Bivens or to Mr. Bivens and Mr. Lewis for those expenses that the council already approved.
Thanks.
Any other questions, comments? Dave?
Just briefly, I wanted to thank R.J. Stevenson and the Finance Department staff. These people have stepped into the breach during the city's time of need and have given us the time and the leisure to select the right person for the Finance Director position. R.J., if you'd pass along to your staff our thanks. Great job.
Molly?
Yes, not every one of the council members, and certainly not all of the citizens, have been able to come to the budget meetings that we had with Paul Lewis. But I must say, I was remarkably impressed with him, not just in the kind of data that he was able to collect and the kind of PowerPoint presentations he was able to give us, but to give us a true understanding of where the city of Washougal is right now, what our forecasted revenues are going to be, how can we actually make our budget this year and next year. We know that there's going to be economic hard times for the next few years. And so some of the strategies that Paul Lewis has helped us with are going to get us through those times. It won't be without sacrifice, but we will be able to work through them. And he's very, very, very well respected all over the county. Very well. We are very lucky to be able to get him.
Second.
Two other quick items in regards to one of Mrs. Wright's other questions in regards to I assume the Economic Development Department. That was eliminated from the budget. There isn't anything that Mr. Lewis is doing that comes remotely close to economic development. I wish there was, but there's not. And then one final item, as I noted at council workshop last week, this agreement has some hours in it that are yet to be identified. Paul gave us a good estimate of what it would take for him to get the materials prepped for the planning session and to bring council up to speed and to make sure that all the staff is still up to speed coming out of that. I asked Mr. Scott to have Paul put some additional hours in there, anticipating that we're going to have some additional work that's going to be needing to be done going into the budget session for this year, and certainly bringing hopefully our new finance director up to speed on all of this information as well. So it's not, I'm not here to say that we're going to use all $4,400. We just put a pack of, I believe it was 40 hours total into that mix, and that's what we've asked Paul to put in there so that we don't repeatedly come back for another 5 hours, another 5 hours. Brett?
From everything that I've seen from Paul Lewis, it's been exceptional. Would you check with him one more time if he could find the funding to turn the air conditioning back on in here?
You bet. Boy, it's sure on during the day. Okay, any other questions, comments? I've got a motion and a second to authorize the mayor to sign the agreement with Mr. Paul Lewis for supplemental tasks on the financial services support project. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?